It's still a kick doing this. It's hard to believe that we're already at day 9. It really is, because, and this is something that anybody who comes to the whole novena, which is quite seriously quite a treat, even if I'm not the preacher, because we get to see ourselves change a little. And in talking with all kinds of people from the different groups who come, and like I say, even the staff here, the first 3 days go by, you know, day 1, day 2, day 3. Day 4, 5, and 6 are sort of like the Wednesday of the week. They just slow down like molasses going up a hill in wintertime, at best. And then day 7, 8, and 9 seem to take about 20 minutes, maybe 15, and all of a sudden, it's the end of the novena and we're getting ready for the opening ceremonies on the afternoon for the vigil of the feast. So it's quite an amazement to all of a sudden be preaching my last novena sermon for this year. And our novena, You Will Be My Witnesses, has been a real treat for me to think through over the last several months in preparation for this. And one of the things that one notices throughout the Gospels, and even in the lives of the prophets that we find in the Old Testament, one of the really important things that has to happen in order for us to really hear the call is to be quiet. Shh. And so I sang the refrain of one of my favorite hymns, be still, and know that I am your God. Be still, and know that I am with you. By name I have called you, by name I will save you. By name you are mine, you are precious to me. By name I have called you, by name I will send you. Forever with you I will be. And that's what happens. We hear Jesus calling us like he called the apostles by name. Fred, Louise, Jim, Annette, come, follow me. And it always seems like a surprise when we hear this call to be follower of Jesus, even though he's been preparing us from the day of our baptism. And we realize that as we listen and begin to follow him, a lot of the things and stuff that had preoccupied us all of a sudden they're just not important anymore. We learn to reprioritize our lives, and we realize that we're living out the refrain of another one of my favorite hymns that I'll be singing this afternoon at the opening ceremony, to fishermen, and the refrain is, leave all things you have and come and follow me, and come and follow me. And it helps us center ourselves. As we center ourselves and we're willing to leave stuff and things behind, we hear Jesus commission us to continue the great work that he began in us. And so now, a bit of a more rip-roaring kind of hymn, Lord, you give the great commission with its own refrain, with the Spirit's gifts, empower us for the work of ministry. Alors François, s'il vous plaît. Lord, you give the great commission, heal the sick and preach the word, lest the church neglect its mission and the gospel go unheard. Help us witness to your purpose with renewed integrity, with the Spirit's gifts empower us for the work of ministry. Lord, you call us to your service. In my name baptize and teach, that the world may trust your promise, life abundant meant for each. Give us all new fervor, draw us closer in community, with the Spirit's gifts empower us for the work of ministry. Lord, you make the common holy. This my body, this my blood. Let us all for earth's true glory daily lift life heavenward, asking that the world around us share your children's liberty, with the Spirit's gifts empower us for the work of ministry. Lord, you show us love's true measure. Father, what they do forgive, yet we hoard as private treasure all that you so freely give. May your care and mercy lead us to a just society, with the Spirit's gifts empower us for the work of ministry. Lord, you bless with words assuring, I am with you to the end. Faith and hope and love restoring, may we serve as you intend. hold in mind eternity with the Spirit's gifts empower us for the work of ministry. Is that cool or what? Imagine the strength of that. But let me give you a clue in on this. It's not just the strength for the singer to have fun. It's a strength for the community of God's people to have fun with the message, to have fun with being called to be God's witnesses, because it can be. A lot of times we tend to think of this as oh my word. It's either Atlas holding up the world or Sisyphus pushing the rock up the mountain only to have it roll back down again and to have to roll the rock back up over and over again through all eternity. Sometimes it does feel like that, but it isn't. When God calls us, He calls each of us for a specific reason. It's not like a shotgun blast, and we hope that one of those little pellets hits somebody. It's Robin Hood, with or without his merry men and Lady Marian, who takes careful aim with his bow and arrow and goes twang and shoots us square in the heart and says, "That's the one I want. And it's going to be your job to be my witness, to go home and tell the person in the pew next to you what it was like to be at St. Anne's Shrine on the 9th day of the Novena, and perhaps the opening ceremony at 4 in the afternoon. How much fun it actually was, and how beautiful the day was. And not just because of the weather, but because of the people here present. When Jesus calls us to be his witnesses, he calls us to do the small things in life extremely well, with an attitude of prayer, with an attitude of reverence, because it's not us on our own. It's Jesus who lives in us. It's that grace of the Holy Spirit that dwells within each and every one of us. And our faith teaches us it is also every single one of us here present and around the world who helps in this mission of being witness. That's the grace of being a part of a community of faith. I hope all of you here present are going to be able to be here for all of the 4 wonderful services for the feast day. The opening this afternoon at 4, this evening's 7:30 Mass, tomorrow morning's big Mass with His Grace Archbishop Lacroix, and tomorrow night's 7:30 evening liturgy with, of course, the candlelight processions after the 2 evening liturgies. I hope you're able to be here to be a part of that, because having done it a number of times, let me tell you, it's great. It's invigorating. It helps us recall that our faith is not about books. Our faith is about life. Our faith is about the life of Christ, the examples of the saints that God has given us throughout the ages, including, of course, good St. Anne and her husband, St. Joachim. It's about living the message more than anything else. May our good and loving God, through the intercession of good St. Anne, continue to empower us with the gifts of the Spirit to do the works of ministry the works of being God's holy people.